May 18th, 2012, from the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in Warwick, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For May 18th, 2012, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. States' rights, woof! Well, this is embarrassing. North Carolina passes constitutional amendment defining not only same-sex marriage, but also civil unions out of existence. In doing so, it concretizes second-class status for same-sex couples. In other petty news, Massachusetts legislature wants to ban bake sales. That's just stupid. In international news, Vladimir Putin is president of Russia. Again. Also, France picks a new president. And if you thought you hated the French under conservative Sarkozy, well, maybe you'd better sit down. In breast news, graduation gift? Breast implants! What? Also, Time magazine cover photo features woman breastfeeding her 3-year-old. The entire country loses its mind. Attachment parenting? Yeah. Mind your own business. Oops, did you need that? JP Morgan loses $2 billion. Yahoo's CEO lied on resume. What does that say about Yahoo's search engine functionality or the quality of their search results? Light Squared files for bankruptcy protection. Light Squared? What the hell is that? Scraping the bottom of the barrel, John Travolta being sued for allegedly groping messieurs. At least 3 of them. Maurice Sendak, Donald Duck Dunn, and Vidal Sassoon are now dead. The hairstyles of child bass players will never be the same. Coming up after the break, In the Shade of the Bigotry, the Gaffinator's Greatest Gaff, and Yummy Skin.
Your Childhood. George Lucas. In 1977, George Lucas made Your Childhood. In 1997, George Lucas took your childhood away. In 1999, George Lucas made you watch as he bent your childhood over a stump. Now, George Lucas wants you to watch him violating your childhood in 3D. Finally, someone is here to stop George Lucas from defiling your childhood memories anymore. But we need your help. The Original Trilogy Restoration Alliance has been established to raise all the money necessary to distract George Lucas from thinking Star Wars needs to be revised again. Please, give generously. This is our most desperate hour. Help us save your memories. You're our only hope.
Conservative black preachers. In almost no time, one offhand remark from the vice president caused an escalation between the forces of equal rights and those of religious bigotry not seen since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Last Sunday on Meet the Press, Biden told host David Gregory that he was completely comfortable with marriage equality and credited the sitcom Will and Grace with doing the most to educate the public in this issue. By Monday, members of the cabinet were being asked their positions on the issue. Like dominoes they fell, more or less agreeing with the Veep. By Wednesday, the vortex swirling around the president left him no choice but to make some announcement. In an interview with ABC, at the end of a meandering backstory that would make Tolkien weep, President Obama said that he thinks that same-sex couples should be allowed to marry. All he should have had to do was pull out a copy of the Constitution and read off the First and 14th Amendments. The rest unfolds naturally from that, as far as I can tell. What kind of a fool am I? The Constitution should be the last place the president should look for justifying a position, especially considering the president's authority derives from that document alone, and especially in Obama's case, as he is a constitutional attorney. But never mind that. When conservative Christian America got wind of this, pundit heads started exploding, like the spring blooms at the Chelsea Flower Show. Even conservative Christian teenage unwed mother Bristol Palin had an embarrassingly hypocritical opinion not worth repeating. As if choreographed to come out on cue, a JCPenney ad, which included an apparently gay couple with a child, proved to be one toke over the line. Perhaps most surprisingly, President Obama's newly announced position on marriage equality lit a firestorm among conservative black Christians who wasted no time venting their baseless bigotry to an all-too-eager news media. When a black person talks negatively about white-he, one can almost excuse it. I mean, there was that whole slavery thing. That was pretty big. But gay-y? When have openly gay people ever oppressed the blacks? And I have to qualify that because J. Edgar Hoover was, by most accounts, not openly gay. An effort is underway to have a statue of RoboCop erected in Detroit. That's different. Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
Detroit is the Motor City, not the RoboCop City. If they want a statue, why not put up a statue of Gerald Ford? He invented the motor anyway. Philadelphia has its Rocky statue, and while some opposed it, it is now a fixture, a landmark, and a tourist attraction. If any town needs a tourist attraction, it's Detroit. And if there's one class of tourists famous for traveling and spending irrationally, it's sci-fi fans. Come on, Detroit, embrace your dystopian future.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. The horrifying tale of Amy Copeland, the Georgia grad student battling for her life against necrotizing fasciitis, more commonly known as flesh-eating bacteria, teaches us a few important lessons. First, a cut can kill you. Good luck with that home improvement project. Second, despite all the science involved in modern medicine, prayer still seems a viable additive to many. Third, necrotizing fasciitis is fun to say, but not to have. Don't go away. Coming up after the break, what's in a name? Where did that come from? And terrorist or cardiac patient?
Soot. You've been hearing a lot of not-so-nice things about soot. Mostly from tree-hugging, dirt-worshipping pansy liberals and people who think breathing is important. They will talk the ears off your head, droning on and on about wind and solar and renewable energy. What they don't tell you is that soot built America. Our modern post-industrial society owes everything to soot. If it wasn't for coal-fired power and diesel-powered transportation, America would grind to a halt. That's a fact. And as long as we have anything to say about it, and as long as there's profit to be made in government subsidies on soot, we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way. We're America's soot industry. Profitable, ugly, traditional, American.
Popular baby names. And now, here's Ryan Hanley with another Jeff Goldblum fact.
You know Jeff Goldblum. If you slow down Jeff Goldblum's speech, he sounds really drunk. If you speed it up, you find out the secret of life. But that's for Jeff Goldblum to know, and for you to find out. Back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Fascinating. And now, here's Moose Weintraub with the Sports Half Minute.
Weintraub Sports Half Minute. It's a whole half minute of sports. 30 seconds of sports. Who's Weintraub Sports Half Minute?
This is your Sports Half Minute. I'm Moose Weintraub. Recently thrilled New York Jet Tim Tebow is not so excited about Jesus shirts borrowing the New York Jets logo design. What are your priorities, Tim?
Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
Thanks, Moose. Always a great report from Moose. A disassembled handgun with ammunition was found among carry-on items at nearby T.F. Green Airport. Here's me with a special on-a-scene report. An unnamed 4-year-old placed a bag on an X-ray conveyor here at T.F. Green Airport behind me. In the bag, the technician identified some suspicious items. On further investigation, according to TSA, these items were determined to be a teddy bear, a bunny rabbit, and one Mickey Mouse. The suspicious characters appear to have ingested the parts and ammunition for a .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun. Upon questioning, neither the suspiciously innocent-looking child nor his shrugging father had any reasonable explanation for the presence of the weapon. Bear, bunny, and mouse were detained by authorities along with their weapon. The father and child were permitted to board their flight. Local authorities believe that the presence of the weapon is explicable as part of a domestic dispute. Well, that's reassuring. Domestic disputes involving firearms always end well. Standing in front of an airport for some reason, I'm Paul Torville for NewsUndies. Thanks, me. And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? Mike Apatow, a Milford, Connecticut resident, was stopped by state police when radiation detectors in the police car installed to detect possible terrorist threats went off. Apatow, a firefighter in nearby Stratford, Connecticut, was returning home following a visit with his cardiologist who had subjected him to a stress test, which involved injecting radioactive dye into Apatow's blood. Of course, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission permits all sorts of products containing radioactive materials which you can, as an unlicensed civilian, own, purchase, and carry. Has post-9/11 paranoia gone way overboard? Yes. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. If you see news that shouldn't be news, you can submit your story tips online at NewsUndies.com. NewsUndies is a bi-weekly show. We'll be back on June 1st with fresh undies. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be considering resigning my membership in the Jesse Lee Peterson Bond outfit. Happy Towel Day. Happy No Thanksgiving. I'd like to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to my brother. Happy birthday, brother.